How did you get to that mindset?
It's a lot of, messing stuff up. Like, I remember the last time I was on was right after I had beaten Frankie. And I was it's just a bunch of different parts of the journey. And in that part of the journey, I was really in this space where if I could make myself more war, if I could make myself more angry, if I could make myself be up here, I would have success. That kind of stopped working a little bit after, like around the TJ fight, and then kind of during the Jan fight, and then definitely I tried to be that guy against Song, and it was like too much of a distracting feeling. Where now my mindset's going into the last fight, because it was such like a distracting feeling, just feeling like I have to get myself to a point of anger or upness before a fight where it just became distracting, where it was helpful before it became distracting in that Song fight. I bailed on that, and I just tried to be as mindful and as present as I possibly could. And I would say maybe about 6 weeks before the fight, I had this moment where I was sitting on the couch because I put a lot of pressure on myself, and where I was to the point where I wasn't enjoying any part of the camp, any part of the experience of fighting or anything. And I was sitting on the couch, and I just like, I think I was crying a little bit, and I was like, I can't do this for the next 5 years of my life, like I can't do this for the rest of my career. And I was like, well, what's got to change? And I was like, I got to take this pressure off of me, and I got to start enjoying every day a lot more than I am right now. And from that, like 6 weeks before the fight, I started doing that, and I really think that carried into the fight, and it made me be a lot less tense, a lot less tight, and it made me be able to fight with just like a completely free way of being.
Is this something that you had previously thought that you could get to that space or wanted to get to that space? Or is this something that you kind of experimented along the way and found this path?
I think that there's ways of being in life that like you just kind of have to be at certain times. Like when you're a young kid, like you have to be like going and hitting it hard. Like you have to remember all of the hundreds of thousands of people on the other half of the world that are trying to accomplish the same goal as you. And you have to be a little bit, in my opinion, you have to be a little bit on the neurotic side of like, am I doing every single thing correct? Am I putting the right amount of pressure on me? That's totally a part of the journey, but I'm kind of more in the part of the journey where I've matured a lot as a fighter. I've matured a lot as a person. I'm getting married this year. Like I'm a little bit older. We're looking at kids probably in the next couple of years. And so I had to start thinking like, what's sustainable? Like what's like a sustainable way to continue doing what I love, but also becoming like a more mature adult.
So it's like you're just finding new ways to approach it and then realizing this way's better than the other way. Even though the other way was effective, this is even more effective. So you're constantly trying to tweak it.
Yeah, and I think that everything kind of has its purpose. Like in those times where I was really embracing this like war mentality, this like very like bloodthirsty, vicious type of fighter that I was trying to be when I would go into the cage, that totally had its place because I had to experience what I thought that had to feel like in order for me to be the best martial artist that I can, because I do feel like I've pointed all of my energy in my life and my mind and my spirit and everything towards the direction of being the best martial artist that I can be. And so going through that had its purpose, man. Like I had to figure out what it was like for me to be like a vicious killer, because in society that's like not cool. I experienced it. I figured out that it was no longer serving me. It was being distracting. So what do I need to do now? Now it's like, okay, you figured that part out. You can be that guy whenever you want to be that guy, but now we're being present. Now we're enjoying it. And you don't really need to be that guy until you walk into the cage. And even when you do walk into the cage, you don't need to be this like really dramatic, super emphasized, like vicious guy. Like be that guy, but you don't have to overdo it. And when you're learning something, I almost feel like you have to completely overdo it in order to learn like where that cutoff is. Like even in technique, like if you could do an arm bar and win every single time with an arm bar, why would you ever stop doing arm bars?
Right.
It'd be stupid. So like you figure out how to like do something, way overdo it, figure out where the cutoff is and be like, okay, I can't do it in like those situations. You pull back, you figure out what situations you need to do it in, and then you move forward.
So what was it about the other way you were approaching it, where, you know, last time you were here, you had just embraced this idea that you went in there with the intention to fuck people up. What was distracting about that?
It's like a hot burning flame, you know, like I feel like it's I can only hold on to it for so long. Like I can't really like it's a lot of energy to be that up. And so when I would be in the back getting warmed up, because you don't know exactly when you're going to walk, so I try to be ready, you know, like 20 minutes before. I'd spend like 30, 40 minutes warming up, trying to be that guy, and then for 20 minutes trying to sustain that guy, and that's like a long time to be that up, you know? So even in this fight, because there's no preparing for that last hour before you go walk. Like, I don't care what type of guy you are or how zen you can be or how confident you are, that last hour before a fight, and it's going to go to you thinking that you're the god of the universe to you thinking that, like, you're about to go get slaughtered. And in the back before, if I started to feel like I was, you know, having those, like, impulsive thoughts of, like, fear or you're about to go get slaughtered, I try to just cover that shit up real quick by getting, like, real pissed. And that's, like, a lot of energy to do. So before the Cheeto fight, I was super proud of the way that I was able to handle those feelings, because those feelings are, like, real as hell when you're in the back. And
How do you handle them?
well, I just watched them, man. Like, I just realized, like, okay, like, I'm having this sense of fear in me. And I would just kind of sit there and be like, okay, well, I'm not really fighting right now, so just let the fear be there. Right now, your job is to get warmed up. And so I just took it, okay, right now I'm getting warmed up. Okay, they said 10 more minutes till we walk. Okay, I'm having the sense of fear still. That's okay. I'm still in the back. And then step by step by step, okay, I'm walking out now, cool. Okay, looking across from him, okay. Touch gloves, now we're fighting. It's literally, it sounds super fucking simple, but it's just step by step by step, man. Just like, okay, I'm having that sense, I'll just watch that and not really I mean, you acknowledge it, but you don't, I don't try to cover it up, or I don't try to, like, be someone else. I just kind of watch it as if it was just someone else, it happening to someone else, and then just move on.